Today we're reacting to ranking my trend lines worst to best by Tory Trades as an ICT trader. Let's go.
Hi guys, I'm Tory Trades, and in today's video, I'm going to be rating trend lines. I'm going to be going through what is an A+ trend line, what is a 10 out of 10, what is the most aesthetic trend line here. So let's go through each one of these instruments and walk through a trend line that I would place a trade on, a trend line that I would truly draw, and maybe trend line no-nos, trend lines that
I feel like the first trend line no-no is never take a trade just based off a trend line.
don't actually make sense and do not draw them. All right, let's get started. We're going to start with crude oil. I'm on a 5-minute time frame here, and let's walk through each one of these trend lines that
Why are there this many lines? Like, honestly, what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Why do you need that many lines? That looks ridiculous. That looks like... That's honestly an eyesore.
I have drawn on the screen. You can see I'm in a current trade. We've got an open trade going on right now. This is for my Apex evaluation. Wish me luck. This is my very first try. This is my first attempt. But right now, why do I have the lines where they're at? I've got a point A here.
I was wondering the same exact thing.
And a point B here. I took a short position based on the break of this trend line. We're in a 5-minute time frame, so I am apt to taking trend line breaks on 5-minute time frames.
You took a short down here on this break. I mean, it looks like this is a stem, right? You swept an internal low. It looks like you're delivering off these bullish fair value gaps. So GG, you're shorting into bullish fair value gaps. That's kind of an insane strat. And then looks like on the lower time frame, since this is the 5, we probably would add a 1 or 2 minute inversion here. Looks like a great long.
With only 2 touch points. But when we're looking at a 10 out of 10 trend line, we want 3 touch points and a lot of data to work with. So let's try to see if we can find an A+ setup or an A+ trend line, a 10 out of 10. Each one of these trend lines that I have on the screen, none of them are 10 out of 10s. This is truly just a...
Well, then why do you have them on the screen if they're not 10 out of 10? Don't you only want to be trading the best possible, like, confluences?
I hope this trade works out. I've got parameters in place in case it doesn't. It's just not one of my A+ setups. So this is me being vulnerable and showing you guys not the best setup. I'm in a trade here where
Fair
I could have
enough.
3 touch points. I didn't, and I still got into the trade. But now let's go into another instrument. So that was crude oil. Let's take a look at gold. All right, we're in gold on also a 5-minute time frame. Let's zoom out a little bit and talk about each one of these trend lines.
What is this? You guys know the Pink Floyd logo where it's like one beam of light splitting into like a ton? Like, that's what this looks like. This looks actually ridiculous.
Steep trend line.
That
this
looks
one
ridiculous.
is beautiful. This trend line right here,
This is not beautiful. I hate to tell you.
10 out of 10. Because 1, we have 3 touch points, and 2,
What the
we have
hell?
plenty of data to work with here. We've got from May 1st, now we're in the 5-minute time frame, so it's still plenty of data. We got a lot of candles. So we've got May 1st all the way to today, May 2nd. Doesn't seem like a lot of data, but look how many candles we have in between. We've just got a lot of data to work with here. So 3 touch points, plenty of data, 10 out of 10 trend line. Let's look at the next trend line. This one right here. We've got 1, 2, do we have 3 touch points? Oh my God, yet another A+ trend line. All right, now even though we're using one of the previous touch points from the last trend line, this is still A+. We've got this last high at around 233.39, and then these 2 additional touch points after. A+, 10 out of 10. Love this. Let's go back and even see this less steep trend line. Oh my God. Do we have yet another 10 out of 10?
Oh my God.
Now, in the 5-minute time frame, I can't see all the data, so I'm actually going to bump it up to a 1 hour. It looks...
Yo, that looks horrible. This looks like a joke. This is like a sickness. This is genuinely a lot worse than the people who will draw like a support or resistance flat line every 5 cents. This looks awful. This looks like a spider web. Like, what is this supposed to do for your trading? What?
It's like a laser show. I know all these lines that I drew were on the 5-minute time frame.
She
Usually when I
said it.
start doing my top-down analysis, I stay in that lower time frame, but we are backing it up just to see this one specific trend line here. Okay, so we've got point A back here on this last high, and point B. Okay, so we've only got 2 touch points for this downward trend line here. We did come in a little bit steeper with those trend lines that I had in the 5-minute time frame, but this right here is still, this is a great example of, it's still a very accurate trend line. It's accurate because this truly
Why is this accurate?
was an area where the price of gold made a high and then turned around. Same back.
Right, but so this trend line, you drew it from here to here just to fit your narrative, right? You skipped over this point, you skipped over this point, you skipped over all the other points you could have connected to where this trend line wouldn't have worked. Instead, like, I mean, this is what, the 1 hour chart? So this collection of red candles right here that I'm kind of moving my mouse over, that looks like it's probably like a 4 hour to 1 day bearish fair value gap of some sort. And so I bet you that's why price came up there and rejected twice. I don't think it's this imaginary, like this total figment of your imagination trend line that doesn't even touch anything between it. Like, I don't think that's why that happened, honestly.
Here, it made a high and then turned around. So yes, we have 2 touch points on this trend line. We may very well get a third. We've got to just simply wait for price to progress to see if we do get that 3rd touch point. But with the data that we have now to work with, it's still an accurate trend line. We just simply need to wait for that 3rd touch point to see if we get it. Okay, so I'd say for our trend lines on gold, we're looking pretty A+. Let's see if we can look at this upward trend line that we had in the lower time frame. All right, upward trend line we have point A, point B, and there is no point C. We very well could have taken a signal here. This could be a signal to go short. According to my strategy, price has broke this upward trend line that's got 2 touch points, but
Your strategy is to go short the second we break below an AB trend line. That's a little weak, huh?
it's not an A+ setup. It doesn't have the 3 touch points, but it does have the plenty of data. So we can kind of make some adjustments, have some...
What do you mean plenty of data? Like, you say you want 3 touch points, and then if it doesn't have 3 touch points, does that not then lack plenty of data? I'm kind of confused. Is the data not multiple touch points over time?
Discretion here on this trade and say, okay, no, we don't have 3 touch points, but we do have plenty of data to work with and a very clear point A and a very clear point B. What's cool is you could simply just pass up on this trade. How crazy. You don't have to take every trade. We could pass up on this trade and wait for a better trend.
I will totally take you up on that. I'm passing up on that every day of the week for sure. For sure. If anything, I might go long here because look, you got stacked bullish gaps. You've swept an internal low. You've actually, I guess, swept trendline liquidity. Like that does look like a decent stim model in the making if you get an inversion on this red right here. So yeah, I'd be looking for longs personally.
Line that has that 3 touch points and that plenty amount of data to work with. Or you can say, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and take this position anyways. Maybe it's not an A+ setup, but the risk is very low. So that very well could make this a setup that you can take. But just understanding that, okay, there's things that we can put into place here. We don't have to take every trade. We can wait for a better setup. We can wait for a better trend line. But I wouldn't say don't take it because you can still very well take it. Low risk here. If it doesn't work out, we're going to know pretty quickly with minimal risk. So I'd say for this upward trend line, we'll give it like a 8 out of 10.
See, this is the other problem. You say things like, we're going to know pretty quickly with minimal risk. Well, what's the knowing? When do you know? When do you determine when to exit this? When do you determine this isn't just a liquidity sweep to move back above it? There's so many like flaws with the way she's explaining this. And I think it is dangerous to newer traders because she's oversimplifying it to the point where it's harmful, I would say.
We're going to give this a 7 out of 10. Now let's look at the lowest trend line that we have here.
And I say that because I teach a strategy on my channel, the STIM ICT model, right? Where I'd have a sweep of liquidity, a tap into a higher time frame for a value gap, an inversion with momentum, okay? And I also teach it in my free Discord, linked in bio, no credit card, no email, you can just join. But yeah, I teach a strategy that has like quantifiable metrics in terms of when to get in. There's no subjectivity to it, right? Like I say, okay, I'm in on the inversion and then I'm out if we close back below it. So I have a very defined model to where you could literally have a list written down of exactly like objective things that can happen in the trade that'll lead you to either be in or get out. And it's very clear, and I teach it in all my videos, but in this video, there's no explanation or extra depth added to the important factors of like, why would you get out of this trade? What causes you to take, your position off? When do you get out, right? It's very unclear and harmful.
Lower upward green trend line. To go back, we may have to go to a 1 hour time frame to see where this trend line starts because this has a lot of data behind it. We're going to go to the 1 hour trend line. We're going to go to the 1 hour time frame. All right, coming in. We've got point A back here on February 29th, looking at 2036. That is the first touch point for this upward trend line. The point B we are using.
Why ignore like all these clumped lows? Like, why are we ignoring like just the? I don't know. This is like a hard watch. I'm gonna put it in 2 times if you guys don't mind. Or 1.75.
Recent data. I don't have a lot of confidence in this trend line. One, because the touch point that we drew on here is using the most recent data that we have. Very, very fresh. We don't have a very clear point B from the past that's giving us previous data to work with. We are simply just using what price has given us very recently to use this point B, or to use as a point B for this trend line. I'm going to give this one a very low rating. I'm going to say 1 out of 4 for the trend line here. And let me explain more. So in the past, we had this trend line in many different areas. At one point, we had this trend line back here.
Okay, yeah. This is actually the first good trend line I've seen. Like, not even to hate. This is unironically a pretty good trend line. This I would pay attention to, right?
We had touch point, very close touch points over here. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 touch points. If I could get that a 20 out of 10, I absolutely would. Plenty of data. We're talking 8 touch points here on this trend line. Price truly.
Right, so 8 touch points is plenty of data, but I guess 2 touch points was enough data earlier is why I just don't get it.
Expected this trend line, an excellent trend line. But the fact that it has yet broken, and we are simply trying to find which one is the new trend, we don't have as much data. We don't have as much touch points. So I would take this trend line. We would have had it here at one point. Okay, this was an area where price of gold came down and then turned around. But then if we look over here, it's broke it yet again. So we don't have as much touch points. We don't have as much data to work with for this new trend line. And it just keeps getting broken. Every time we try to find this new point B, it breaks it. So this is why I'm going to give this a very low rating for this new place where we have this trend line. But in the past, this was it. This was the one. When the price of gold crossed this was A+ setup. I just can't even rave more about this. 20 out of 10 trend line and 10 out of 10 setup for taking a short position on this trade here. Low risk. I love everything about this setup. Everything about this setup. But now if we're working with data most recently, I'm not feeling great about it. So I would consider this a missed move. I didn't catch this trade. I didn't catch this opportunity. I want to wait for a better setup. I want to wait for...
You want to wait for a better setup? But you just said this was A++ 20 out of 10. If that's a 20 out of 10, A+++, how does it get better?
An area where the price truly does give me multiple touch points on this trend line. So these are my ratings for gold trend lines. Let's move on. All right, now let's go to platinum, my favorite. Okay, let's start first and foremost this steeper upward trend line we have. I'm giving that a 2 out of 10. This is too steep. We don't even have a true point B to work with. I feel like somebody just slapped that on the screen and they were just...
That was you. You drew this. What?
Guessing. My idea here is I want to delete this trend line so much so. That's why we have a 2 out of 10 for this trend line. So we want...
Why is she acting like someone hacked onto her computer and drew this trend line? Like they just logged onto her Trade and drew this steep, shitty trend line just to piss her off. I mean, you just made it, didn't you?
Get rid of it. It's not accurate. It shouldn't be on the screen. Get rid of it. Now I want
Why
to wait for
was it
platinum to
there?
give me a point B. I want to see the price come down and then turn around. Give me this new pullback, this new point B. Okay, let's say hypothetically speaking, the price of platinum, this very next candle.
Yeah. Use a hypothetical when your strategy is so unclear that you can't actually give good examples, so you have to give a hypothetical.
Starts turning around. It comes up, maybe it pulls back a little bit, and then we finally get a move. This is where I would put a more accurate point B for my trend line. I would have this last low here.
Okay.
And then just simply coming up to...
See, so she's giving a hypothetical. If we make a swing low here, okay, well, what if this is the swing low? Like, there's so many questions I have, okay? Like, right here, look at this swing low where I'm moving my mouse. That was a trend line, no? But it broke, so it doesn't fit your narrative, so you have to delete it. And you could just keep doing that to every swing low and say it's a trend line. And at one point, of course, you're going to be right. Of course, price is going to bounce off that trend line if you keep moving it, right? Like, if you continue to move it to fit your narrative, it's going to work. Okay, because look, right here where I'm moving my mouse, you know, there's this trend line. And instead of having it connect to this high right here, she has it connect to this one. Because if she had connected it to this one, it would have been a broken trend line. It wouldn't fit the narrative. So this is very obvious. You can draw a trend line in between any point A and point B on any candle ever, right? As long as you've got two swing highs or two swing lows. But to act like they just consistently work is asinine to me. It just doesn't make any sense.
This new point B. This would be better than trying to throw a line on the screen. So it's better to simply just wait for a more clear, a more accurate pull.
Better than trying to throw a line on the screen. Is that not what you're really doing? I mean, you're better off just throwing a random line on the screen, because if you just did a flat line at this swing low, I think it'd give you a lot more information on how to react to the market movement than drawing even a point A, point B trend line right here between these two completely random areas. Yeah, this is awful. I'm not even trying to hate, but this just makes no sense.
Back a more accurate point B than to just throw one on the screen. And it truly shows patience as a trader. If you can show patience, show discipline, I mean, your trading will only benefit from that. So I would say right now, if I...
That segmented thing she just said about patience and discipline is like the first W take.
Had to work with what platinum is giving me at the moment, I'm going to have no upward trend line. I'm simply going to wait for platinum to give me a better point B. But now let's look at the other trend lines here. So we've got this downward trend line. We've got point A here, point B here. We got close to a third touch point, but not quite. I would say this is still accurate. It's not my favorite. It's not incredibly aesthetic. It doesn't have 3 touch points, but we do have a lot of data to work with, and we have a very clear area where the price of platinum came up and then started turning around. So we'll give this one a 6 or 7 out of 10. Now let's look at the previous line. We're going to back up a little bit more. This line is coming from a much higher time frame. Let's go to the 1 hour and see if we can see the point A.
Oh, God.
Okay,
oh, my God. Yo. Wait. I got to see that again.
This line is coming from a much higher time frame. Let's go to the 1 hour and see if we can see the point A for that.
Yo, this looks like a spider web. This is wild. How is that supposed to help you? It's like the Pythagorean theorem here. A squared, B squared, C squared.
Okay, you can.
Come on.
Okay, for platinum, we've got point A, this last high that it made at this 1019.7. And then we've got point B, this most recent high. We've only got 2 touch points. It doesn't feel as aesthetic. It doesn't feel as right. We do have a true area where the price of platinum came up and then turned around. But if I can go back and show you guys how many times we would have had to move this, it makes it feel less valid. So at one point we would...
Honestly, I feel... Yeah. Wait, it makes it feel less valid if you show every time you'd have to move it. Yeah, but that has to go with every trend line you've drawn. This is why I don't get it. I'm honestly just going to skip to the end here, like the last few minutes. I want to see kind of the conclusion of this.
It's then populated.
I feel like the points are... I mean, what is this?
Okay, now we have another trend line. We've got 1, 2, 3 touch points. Okay, love that. But price moved so far away from that trend line, so incredibly, aggressively far away from that trend line, and then finally came back to it, created a 4th touch point. This would have been an indication to, okay, these are long positions. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 touch points here. I'm going to say even though price moved so aggressively far away from it, but still, you know, if you could have given this some time, ended up making its way back to this trend line, I'd say 10 out of 10. And this happens to be an example where this would have been the trade. We've got the A+ setup, we got the 10 out of 10 for a downward trend line, and this happened to work.
But why is it an A+ setup? Just because you closed above the trend line? Like, to me, that's really not a valid trading strategy. I don't know. That just does not seem like... You're talking no other confluences. You're just taking a long right here. Look, I don't care if it works or not. You're longing into 2 bearish fair value gaps and a swing high inside of them. That makes no sense.
Long positions here, and actually, as of this candle right now that's populating, we would be considering closing this very soon. Now, making sure that you have some things in place. If you are considering closing that long position, making sure that, okay, are we truly convinced this is turning around? Do we need to wait for the candle to close before we actually close this trade? We want to make sure that, okay, are we about to get faked out? Is this truly turning around and coming down? And just simply by waiting for that 5-minute candle to close could give you just that added confirmation. That could be as simple.
If only trading was that simple. But yeah, she's basically saying if this 5-minute candle closes below the trend line, the long is cooked. Are we serious? Like, that's how simple people make these things? Gosh. Wow. The fact that you can put in such low effort and make such a BS video and get a lot of views on it is kind of wild to me. Like, this is crazy. Acting as if the 5-minute candle close right by this trend line will tell you if you need to get out of longs or enter shorts or not. Like, as if it's that simple is unreal. Wow.
The simple confirmation that you need to close this trade. Let's say that, for example, it doesn't actually continue down and it just simply faked us out. It started pulling back and then turned around. And this is where a benefit of waiting for the candle to close could help you in a trade. But right now,
Yes,
it looks like
but waiting for that candle to close, just that one candle won't tell you if it's a fake out or not. You need to be looking for a lot of other signatures in price, and it could take multiple candles to develop a fake out. Why are we acting like one candle is going to tell you whether it's a fake out or not? I don't know.
this is continuing down. There's about 30 seconds left of this candle. Just wait, give it 30 more seconds, see if this thing is going to continue down, close that trade, take that profit, or we may be considering reversing, going
Once again, if only it was that easy, right? Yeah, just wait 30 seconds for the candle to close, bro, and then you'll know if it's going to keep going down or not. Wow.
short, or if this pulls back above your line, it's keeping you safe, then we're staying in our trade. This is an example where this A+ setup did work out, but I didn't take that trade. So now where do I need to put this line? So I'm not in either one of these positions. So I'm simply going to take this.
You need to delete it, and that one, and that one, and that one. You actually just need to delete them all, to be honest.
Point B and move it here. Now, this trend line, what's the rating? I'm going to say this is a 6 out of 10. I don't have a whole lot of data to work with, but it is a clear area where the price of copper came up and is starting to turn around. So I'm going to say 6 out of 10, not my favorite. I wouldn't consider it an A+ setup if it gets crossed, but it's still valid. All right, guys, that was my analysis on trend lines and my ratings for each one of them.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know much about Tory trades or whatever. I think this video is really unhelpful. I mean, honestly, probably harmful, if anything, if people take it the wrong way. Like beginner traders will unironically probably be worse off after watching that. And that's not even me hating. That's just like the oversimplification, like combined with a lack of explanation as to other confluences and other confirmations. Like, you cannot convince me she's profitable by just doing that strategy she showed. That makes no sense. I mean, if you look, this video is a year old, so recent enough. And like, if I were her, I would just delete this unless she still is trying to put on this facade that this actually works. I hope not. I mean, maybe we'll check out another one of her videos. But yeah, with that being said, let me know if you guys like the reaction style. And if you do, comment and I'll post more of these. And if not, I'll just post more educational content either way. But yeah, make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I post educational content and videos several times a week, and I'm trying to grow the channel and keep you guys as educated as possible about trading and all that stuff. So with that being said, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.